Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equity Story. I apologize again about the video being late, but we're just really busy, and obviously it's a reporting season, and a lot of stocks are reporting, some well, some badly, and I'll talk about that later on in the video. But actually, the ASX we did really well. We got it got sort of hammered down earlier in the day, and I think obviously interest rates being on hold and generally the RBA, I think they seem pretty comfortable with everything at the moment around the world. So, later on the day we worked our way up and just holding just below that sort of trend line. I do think, like I said this week, I think we'll end up slightly down, and possibly just looking at that sort of our chart here, maybe just hugging towards that sort of 5,500 level. I think by the end of the week. Um, I'm not really a big channel person, but I was having a look at the Dow, and something I prepared earlier, so I'll sort of give you a look. Often sort of markets can trade within a range or in a channel, and you can see the Dow did that actually pretty nicely since around 2012, 14, 15, 16, then obviously broke that trend, came up and tried to get through that channel again and couldn't do it, and it's trying again. And I think this is really quite important at the moment, actually, on the Dow, that it does break this level. And it breaks through this sort of say 2,100 level, and it breaks through on a weekly. So you want to see it sort of around here by the end of the week. I think we are at resistance on the Dow Jones, and I think we are in obviously a pretty important junction at the moment. And I think possibly how the Dow can move over the next sort of few days. It's going to obviously affect the market possibly for the next 2 months, but we'll see. All in all, there's sort of trending stocks apart from gold. The rest sort of, I think, really just hanging in there. But today, just look at TWE. I do love this story. It's a great story, and the trend is really good. Today we spent a lot of time going through the whole of the ASX 200, especially like for the new website, just sort of getting all the graphs looking good, and everything's red, like a red negative weekly trend, negative daily trend, negative all over. There's hardly anything at the moment on the ASX 200 you'd really have a look at. And I'll tell you what, although our ASX 200 stocks are not kicking goals, it's certainly a lot better than anything else there at the moment. I'd argue Fortescue's a little bit better, but that's arguably one that got away. And corporate travel again, just holding that trend line, although it has come back here again and sort of tested that level. For me, there's no issues. And Aristocrat, I think these companies just holding trend lines, just waiting for reporting now, really. And hopefully, if we're both right, we've got the trend right, we've got the fundamentals right, we should be absolutely fine. And obviously Hansen again having sort of a little green day, but holding sort of these sort of trend lines. So I'm fine with all these stocks. I've got no issues with them. They're good companies, and they're sort of up there near the trend lines. What do look really good actually are the gold stories at the moment. So obviously Northern Star marching up pretty strongly, and I did have a look at gold, and we look at gold every day. I mean, we're talking about that level, that sort of 1,220 level, and it sort of broke it quite nicely. And I do think that sort of next level is around that sort of 1,275, sort of around here. And I do think we are headed to that level, and that's, I think, the next resistance level for gold. What we believe is really pushing gold up. You hear a million things on the press, what's doing gold, why is everyone running to gold. I really do think it's the issues in Europe are playing a major factor, and I think people are getting nervous. People are starting to see the start of possibly Europe crumbling into pieces, and I think this makes people very nervous and wants them to have, like we've always said, the catalyst for gold will always be when nations around the world collapse, and I do think we're starting to see that, and certainly Europe is looking absolutely terrible. Even when you look at America now, when have you ever seen America so divided? And we spoke about this before. This divided America, California now wanting to leave the United States, it's absolutely incredible, really. And I think we're just seeing this all around the world in a lot of countries in Europe, and and obviously now in America, we're seeing this sort of, I wouldn't say that bad, say civil anarchy, but the situations are getting serious, and countries are very, very in debt. We do have the sovereign debt crisis, which is still there, it's lurking sort of on our doorstep, and that's why we do like gold. And I think at the moment gold is trending up, and it certainly looks, it's got a lot further to go. And even evolution, just absolutely looking stunning. And I think when they start moving like this, you've really got to sort of be watching these now on these sort of trend lines. And evolution looks very, very good, and obviously a bit of resistance, maybe at 250. But I think if the gold goes to where we think it's going to go to, around that sort of 1,275, I think that $3 will be in play in the short term. And I think with Northern Star, certainly that $5, test that $5 could be in play in the short term as well. Just having a look at basically the weekly buy and sell signals. CBL, MNF came back more or less to where it is. CBL is sort of hanging in there. Generally speaking, the bullish shares, I think it's actually looking all pretty sideways. Obviously, Newcrest being gold doing well. Macquarie Atlas up at 2%. EHL hitting record, was as high as 0.98, hitting record yearly highs. DWS again hitting record yearly highs, which is good. AGL up. So generally speaking, again, Fortescue, which we did have as a I think a bullish stock last week. It's a bullish stock this week, but we had it last week as I think had a classic buy, and it did do very well and came back. But again, doing what often stocks can do with these classic buy signals, we've seen by all the analysis of our results that often if they don't have a big move up the first week on a buy signal, they can do it the second week, and maybe that's what Fortescue's having now. So if you're buying these classic weekly buy and sell signals, just don't buy them as a weekly trend. Buy them as a 2-3 weekly trade, because that's what we've proved. As long as you can hold them sort of 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, the average returns around that 6-7%, which again is, as we said, pretty extraordinary. Again, the sell signals, there's nothing there, sort of fairly mixed. But I'll tell you what I would say: by the end of the week, you're going to see those sell signals, I think, trigger pretty strongly. And again, obviously the bearish stocks, obviously looking pretty bearish generally, and going with the market. Telstra is one stock at the moment I've got I'm not saying a huge dislike for, but I'm certainly not very, I just look at this chart pattern of Telstra, and it just reminds me so much how it traded, before it did have that big fall before, just sort of playing around with that moving average. It couldn't go through it, and then it just got a lot more aggressive towards the end. Just don't like Telstra at all, and I certainly wouldn't be in it for a dividend at the moment, and I think it's one to still stay well away from. We had some sort of really sort of bullish moves on some of those small caps. Star Group, if you like micro caps at the moment, it is a really hard market. I've been, sort of, that's why we're not putting out many sort of 10 baggers of late. But if one stock looks good, this one looks absolutely fantastic. This one is, it was, giving a dividend, I think here around just 6.2%, which they flagged that dividend. And again, that breakout looks really, really bullish. Star Group is one company that we find amazing, that it sort of really hasn't moved in the last year, but that's really good price action. So maybe the move is on with Star Group, and certainly it's looking very, very good at the moment on the charts. As again is Moy up 6.35%, looks fine. And CM8, this is a great, this company's just been putting great results in, and again similar to Star Group, just having a disappointing share price action, which is again just pretty typical of the sector. But I quite like that price action. Again, had that move up. There's your nines. Watch out for your nines. They trigger a lot, and had a nice green day up above that sort of 40-day moving average. For me, that looks really, really bullish. I've just got two important things at the moment. We are redoing the Mobile Embrace write-up at the moment. They did have a really disappointing earnings miss. As expected, the stock got absolutely sort of hammered. What we're trying to look at now, we're trying to meet management at the moment. Is this, and what we've got to remember, the market is just very rational at the moment. Is this the a great buying opportunity at the moment? And this is what we're going to find out in the next few days. If it is, we're going to suggest you get into it. If it's not, we're going to suggest most probably you sell it on the bounce. But we are meeting management. We are going to trying to go into all their numbers and what they're talking about, because possibly, you know, a lot of companies, when they're startups, they can have their little hiccups, and we just hope this is a little bit of a hiccup. Funny enough, talking about hiccups, we're trending MNF at the moment. It looks fantastic, fantastic company, fantastic trend. But I even remember MNF having its sort of little hiccup in the early days, and you know, run up to that sort of 30 cents higher, went down as far as 6 cents. And this can happen until companies really in the early days sort of get a strong footing of really what they're doing and get certain things sorted out. They can have these sort of little moves, and at the moment we've got to find out what type of move this is for Mobile Embrace. I'm also meeting Stephen Goh tomorrow morning, the CEO of MIGME. Now MIGME is a stock we like again, a company that, you know, has been growing its revenue, has been growing its membership base very strongly over the last 2 years. The last quarter, the revenue was weak. It wasn't really explained, I think, in the last quarterly exactly why that revenue was weaker. These are one of the questions I'm going to be asking Stephen tomorrow. He seems very, very keen to see me, and he's very excited as always on the phone about MIGME. So I will be reporting about MIGME tomorrow night, and I'm sure, you know, what I'll be reporting is nothing more than Stephen, or you know, says on the through the ASX. But sometimes when you hear it through people's words, it's obviously you get a sort of a more sort of human touch to these stories. Anyway, I'd like to thank you for listening to Equity Story, and I look forward to bringing you this report tomorrow night. Good night.